Yo, can they hear me? Loud and clear? What is going on, everybody? A Monty here with another episode, another edition of Hey, Chill. It's just a podcast. And boy, it's been getting exciting on this show the last few weeks, you know what I mean? After a bad show. Then it started going up. But it's okay. Anyway.
That's the episode we don't mention.
Yeah, you're right. That's the,
Shady.
It's not shit. I don't know shit. I don't know.
We don't gotta
That's
talk
Monty
about it.
Boy.
Anyway, what's up, guys? How we feeling?
It was good.
All right.
Another Monday.
Talk
Monday.
directly in for me, all right? So, man, we have a special guest this week. And last week, she was so hyperactive in the chat. And me, personally, I don't look at the chat as much as I need to be. And then I'd be catching shit way late. And I'd be like, oh, fuck. So, but I did read back what she was saying. And now I wanted to hear a lot of what she had to say. You know what I mean? So introducing Miss Capri. What's going on? Capri Chambers. How you feeling?
What's good, everybody? Miss Capri is in the building.
Yeah.
Not the Miss Capri Lawrence, because I have all respect for her. Love you, Queen. But yeah, I'm here and I just came to chill out with you guys today, have some conversation. I got a lot going on. I got Capri Financial LLC, which is my business, and I do personal and business taxes and business consulting as well. I also have an organization called Generational Words that's ran by my mother, Valerie McAllister, but I run it as well as a business manager. I have 4 children that I love so much.
It was that sigh. She was just like,
Yeah.
That's where
It's a hard knock life for us mothers out here. And I'm a dance mom too. So, I have 3 daughters and they all dance. So I got to, work with them with that as well. And I'm just here to, chill and talk today.
Chilling vibe, joining
Chilling
to the
vibe.
conversation.
It's a vibe.
so
Know what I mean?
they said you were active last show. What got you last show? Like what?
It was just an interesting conversation. Like, you can't talk to everybody about everything. And even though this is a podcast, it's still real topics that y'all are talking about. So I'm interested in things like that. So if I see it and I feel like I want to chime in, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I feel like the last one that you guys had was tapping really into what's going on in this world right now. And we don't pay enough attention to it. I feel like we kind of blow it off pretty easily. We see it and then we don't, or we talk about it for a second and then we stop talking about it. But the truth of the matter is, like, it's a lot more serious than people are taking it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because at this time last year, we didn't really talk about, like, topics like that. Like, I was really shooing away from politics and world news and stuff like that because I didn't know too much about it. But it's just, as you get older, you just start to be more concerned about it because it does kind of, like, what happens in the world kind of does affect us every day. Right. So it's like when you're younger, you just really don't think about it unless, I guess, you have a really political, like,
family,
family, yeah, somebody, and my family never really was, so it was just like I never really cared too much, but now I do because I see how much it's really going to affect us. And we talked about it through the weeks of doing the show. We wanted to do more realer content, not just talking about men and women and arguments about that type of stuff, because that was what was getting the views. But it's like, that's not what I want this to be about. I don't want it to be a bunch of mindless content that doesn't make any sense. I want it to be, I know sometimes it's like I do feel like we'll go off on tangents, or Eric will go off on tangents. I'm going to say Eric especially.
But y'all love my tangents.
No,
that doesn't make any sense to what we're talking about, but it's just like, but
I've seen the comments.
I think
you took time out of your day to respond or comment on what I was doing. Fans, I love y'all.
Right, and I think the important thing to think about though is that the show is about our opinions on these topics. It's not facts that we're finding. It's just questions that I see or what that we'll come up with, and we're just giving our opinions on it, just from regular people. You know what I mean? So I like the direction it's been going with the harder, more real life topics. You know what I mean? So before we get into the topics, though, I want to know a little bit more about you, what you do. You know what I mean? Because I don't think y'all realize this woman's done a lot. Man, I don't know if
He's trying to dig, y'all.
Yeah,
I am.
He's trying to dig.
So I wanted to talk about the events, the promoting, and things that I've seen you do in the past few years. What made you even get into this field?
Well, let me tell you, I'm a natural supporter of my people, period. I didn't I mean, I naturally do it. Of course, I don't have the time to support every single person that I know is doing something, because I know a lot of people. I network a lot. I go to a lot of events just for the support of the people. But when I get the chance to, that's what I do, just because of the fact that I feel like we don't do that enough. I feel like I don't want to say crabs in a barrel, because that terminology is played out to me.
Thank you.
But at the same time, I feel like we definitely do not like to see people above us. And I'm speaking generally, because not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody walks through life that way, but a lot of people do. And my thing is, like, I'm going to show you the same exact love that I want you to show me. And even if you don't show me that same love, I'm still going to show you love, because that's just my character.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my heart.
Do you feel like that's like the main problem in Virginia? Like, do you feel like that's why Virginia isn't one of the major music scenes in America right now? Is it because of that specific reason? Like, people don't like to see each other grow, or
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of that. I think it's also a mixture of emotions and logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know how to separate the two. And I feel like, personal things happen because so many people know people, because Virginia is kind of small. And then the emotional part takes over the logic. You know what I mean? Like, we really can do business together. We really can make some things happen, because you might not deal with a person on a personal level because of how they may deal with people personally, but they may be a great business person. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be able to determine the difference between the two and know how to deal with people. Just because we're doing business together doesn't mean we got to be the best of friends. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we can definitely get some money together, because there's plenty out here. For everybody.
I know a few hairstylists like that. They missing out on a lot of money just because it's like, oh no, I remember that girl from such and such.
Right.
And it's like, little do you know, she could have been like your number one client.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that a lot. People just don't seem to like to see people grow. And I mean, in my opinion, that's been one of the major factors in Virginia. I had a thought that I was going to say, but then I lost it when Taylor said something, but it's okay. So talk about your music. I want to talk about your music real quick. Like, talk to us about like your style of music, what inspires you, and what type of music you make.
Yeah. I do a little bit of everything. So I have been writing since I was about maybe 8 years old. And, I'm a lyricist, not a rapper.
Respect.
And a singer as well. I'm an all-around artist, but I can run with the best of them. So don't get it messed up. Like, I really can do any kind of music. It's just I'm geared more towards the old school 90s, 2000s R&B. Like, that's my era. I was born in 85, so I'm a little older than y'all. But I go towards that because it just has more feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's more meaning behind it. And I don't knock none of the new music, because I listen to some of it. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to what I actually listen to, what you're going to hear in my playlist, what you're going to hear in my house, in my car, most of the time, it's going to be some old school something, whether it's rap or R&B or whatever which way it goes, because I listen to some country too. Some rock too. It really just depends upon the artist. But I do have some things out. Again, I have, and I'm not going to say again, I said that to Monty earlier, but I haven't been on the scene in like 3 years because I was focusing on other artists. But, some of my peoples in Richmond kind of dragged me back out, and they was hitting me up to do shows, because I definitely wasn't signing up for nothing. But I just decided to, jump back out there. I'm getting a little older, so it's not something I want to make a career out of, but it is something that I love to do. So that's what I do.
Gotcha.
Respect to the craft.
Yeah. Big respect
That's a
to the
deep
craft.
resume right there.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that go on around Virginia, and it's just weird how this place isn't more popping than like, it should be just a lot more active. It should be a lot more popping. It should be a lot more, seen, and it's just not, because there is a lot going on. Like, there's shows everywhere. Like, I made a post up earlier in the week, and I'm like, are all these independent something in the indie water shows that I keep seeing about, are they all connected to the show or not? Like, because I don't know this information for real. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if they are or not, but there's like 1,000,005 shows that are going on around here at all times. You know what I mean? So how Virginia is not like a centerpiece for music right now is just beyond me.
It's not enough.
No, but it is, but it isn't.
Next week it is.
No, but it is, but it isn't. It is because everybody's making music here. Let's be honest. Like, everybody's a rapper, everybody's a singer, everybody's this and that. But it's not because how many people are trying to come here. Like, it's kind of low-key difficult to get big names to come here. I mean,
hell, you had Plies. Plies was just in Hampton. What you
Plies,
talking
but how big of a name is Plies, bro?
I got Motion.
That's not all, bro. You gotta keep.
I'm
talking about, like, let's get Drake here on a show, bro. How often do you get Drake here on a show, bro?
Drake go where he want. Drake, look at the fanboy. The Drake go where he want to go though. Like,
Virginia is just like the attractive spots are just equally as dangerous as all the other attractive spots that are out in the world. So I don't know. All right, well, we'll move on to some topics.
And Drake might pop up at Sight in the Water just like Jay-Z did last year. You never know, man. So stay tuned.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, stay tuned, man.
Yeah, you never know.
Nobody knew Jay-Z was coming last year.
Yeah,
he wasn't on the bill.
Snoop popped
but he
up.
popped up with Beyonce.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's his wife. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, he popped up in Virginia where you just said ain't nobody coming. He popped up. You know what I mean?
I mean, Pharrell also produces albums. Shit, like, come on, man.
For real.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, let's get on to some topics, man.
Virginia lit.
Virginia is a lit spot to be, man.
Virginia lit.
It is, man. It's just I just feel like there's a lot of hectic shit that goes on around here that gives it a bad name.
That's everywhere.
In the media.
Exactly.
That is everywhere, man.
I barely get it most of the time.
And it's rough, bro. It's rough for Virginia. But, all right, yeah, so we'll get into some of the topics, man. So last week we were talking a lot about what's going on currently in the country. And, I mean, it's just getting worse and worse, if you ask me. It's getting more and more rough. First of all, we have a president that is just... I want to know, y'all, everybody's personal opinion on our president prior to him coming into office. What did you guys think about Joe Biden?
A puppet?
He's not my president.
I mean, I looked at him like, dang, that man is old. He is really finna croak over. Everybody was looking at Bernie Sanders that way, but Biden looked older than Bernie Sanders.
Sleepy Joe on the track.
Like,
yeah, I think honestly, I thought prior to the election, him and Trump, I thought he was the better option until he started talking on the mic. And I started realizing how stupid he actually was. I mean, I think all presidents are honestly puppets.
Facts.
But now that he's in office, yeah, it's just...
You talking about me last show? They coming for him. They gonna get him.
Why?
They don't like.
I think it's a commonly known thing that a lot of people just don't like Joe Biden anymore. He's just...
Listen, the thing about it is, excuse me, I didn't even mean to cut you
you're
off, but we need to start doing research on our president, y'all. Whoever is in election, and we need to start starting locally first. And we do not do that. I don't care what anybody says. I don't see nobody at none of those meetings. I don't see, like, we have the opportunity because most of those meetings are public and we don't go to them. And we don't vote locally. We don't vote for, our mayors and governors or any of that. And that's where it actually starts at. The president.
People want to complain.
Right.
This is where it is now, is that so many Americans don't trust our government, that so many Americans don't want to vote anymore. And I think the government likes that. I think they like the fact that they can have more power over the voting sway if they don't have as many people voting. And so I think that their whole people don't trust the government thing, they're running with it because it's working for them. It's making it so that they can pass laws and legislations and all different types of shit without anybody knowing. Because like we were talking about last week, nobody goes to these meetings. Like they have all these public meetings that people can go to and people don't go.
City Hall, all of that.
Yeah.
But see, this is the thing, like, the ones who do vote still do not research who they're voting for. They go by what's popular, the status quo. Like, they don't pay attention to who these people are. Y'all didn't research who this man was prior to electing him. Y'all just seen that he was with Obama. So because of the fact that he was with Obama, I need to vote for him. But did you do any research on this man? So my thing is, we can't really blame, what so many people outside of ourselves, because number one, we're not active enough. And number two, we're not researching who we're dealing with until after the fact, until everybody else starts putting stuff out about it. That's the thing about social media. Like, it's a great platform, but it's also a platform that's going to keep us in conformity as to where we're just following. We live in a world full of followers. Like, we need some more leaders out here that's actually going to be the trendsetters and not the trend followers all the time.
Well, that's where social media has kind of separated people. Like, because there's people who become influencers who are the quote-unquote leaders of these different movements and shit like that, and then the people who follow them. So because social media has done that, it showed us who is out here trying to be a leader and then shows us who is just out here trying to follow trends. And again, I think this all sways towards the government's like it sways in their favor because again, we're following different opinions from influencers because whenever people talk about their political ideas or political, opinions, it's their opinions, it's their personal thoughts on it. So, and then when they go viral and they get millions of people tuning into their videos, now they have millions of people who are swaying in on their opinions, whether they agree or not, which is causing debates in their comments, likes, shares, all this different type of shit. And again, it's just, we have no control for real, but I also feel like no, I already said it. I mean, the voting pools, they don't want people to vote because they want to have power over.
See, this is
voting.
my thing. I completely agree. It starts small. So, yes, we do need to be more active in, like, the council meetings and stuff that they have locally. But my thing is like we were just saying with social media, everybody is they're so captured by everything outside.
Right.
Of their local community. So it's like we've been talking about it for the past couple of shows about how we really need to start locally, but what do we really do to get everybody in a local setting to really care about stuff like that in the community?
It's right now TikTok and Twitter and social media. It's these platforms are giving people an opportunity to do well with them. It's some people don't do as well, but there are influencers out there who talk about political news and they're like
that is so sad though, because it's like I'm right here in a community with these people and I gotta hope that it reaches them on TikTok.
Right? No, and I get that, but it's like our local news media sources are just giving fed information to tell everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like they can't even really, if there is something locally that's going on that people need to know about and they're told not to talk about it, they can't talk about it. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where these smaller influencers are who are growing, who talk about the shit that goes on. Like there's ones for pretty much each state has their own influencer talking about their or national ones who talk about different states of what's going on, locally in their governments, and if they have like new laws that might be passed and shit like that. A lot of the new laws that I hear about from TikTok, from like press conferences that they have that just don't get talked about on the news medias. Like it's these platforms, they're showing the people, hey, look, this is what's really going on. And now the government's like, oh, nah, we don't want this. We don't want this at all. We want y'all to keep being blind to everything that's going on so we can have full control over all of this.
But let's talk about the fact that a lot of people are scared, too. Like, we don't got backbones like we used to have. And that's very true. Like, we're scared. There are people out here that are petrified of even speaking up, opening their mouth, even if it's just their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Just because of what could potentially happen just from them speaking. Look at, what is his name? Ahmad. Do y'all know who I'm talking about? I can't think of that man's name for the life of me. But basically, he is a TikTok influencer, but he basically talks about a number of things. Some of the things.
About the guy with the dreads?
Yeah, but a lot of the things, some of the things I agree with, some of the things I don't. They got him locked up now, I believe, for some type of.
I thought he was running a cult.
Yeah, so basically they're saying he was running
like
a cult.
Andrew Tate.
Right.
No, don't they
I mean,
that's the Moore brother.
He's nothing like Andrew Tate.
Yeah, no.
It's more knowledge.
But it's just the point, like when you start opening your mouth and you do start creating a following for yourself, then you have to worry about what the after effect may be, and people are scared of what that might look like for them. And people are not going to make that sacrifice.
If it ain't ignorant, then the big companies don't want it.
I'm trying to tell you.
People are scared of it because look what's happening to the people who are opening their mouths. They're either getting locked up or going in the ground. Like one of the two are happening. So it's like, how are you gonna motivate people to speak up when every time somebody does or they speak up against a political view, they get shut down some way, shape, or form? It's hard, and it's hard to stay consistent with it too.
I personally feel like that's what organizations like the Black Panthers were for, because it's like everybody is so afraid of the violent outcome. But when you have an organization that's willing to go to that extra mile, just like them, then you feel comfortable doing it. We don't have that anymore, so it's like we've become domesticated.
That's the United States of America. Because in them other countries, they're going to die about it.
Yeah.
Across seas, they are going to die about whatever they believe in. We, on the other hand, will not.
No.
But then we have to understand that we're still in business with them too. So there's only but so many lines that we're going to cross with them outside of what recently
But
has
is that
been
the smartest
happening.
thing to do, to go die for what you believe in?
I mean-
like go blow up the plane because it's.
No, I'm not saying that.
Allah's
I'm just saying
coming.
like we don't even do anything close to that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but I mean, I'm glad I don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like
I'll be fucked up if I got to go jump on a plane because God is coming. You feel me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I get that,
You know
but
what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like
I don't
it would
believe
just
in
be
none
a
of
lot
that.
more comfortable, like being able to trust the people who are supposed to be leading me, and you can't trust anybody who's leading us because they're all leading by greed, and when you lead by greed, you're gonna lead them right into a fucking pit of bullshit, and that's what's been happening. And as our country continues to lose power, they're continuing to go fucking crazy. They're probably up there in the offices right now, fucking bugging the fuck out. America's turned into shit, and it's their own fault, and they want to blame everybody else but themselves, and that's a big issue.
That's the thing. It's been going to shit. It's just that now we can see it. So it's like
Now it's televised.
Right.
You know, now you know.
But what I mean by going to shit, like, this has of course been a long time coming. Of America has been doing shit, like we were talking about this earlier. America has been just tiptoeing into everybody else's business. Now everybody else is like, I'm not trying to fuck with no Americans at all. Y'all got school shootings going on. Your economy's all fucked up. You got a whole lot of shit going on over there. Your people are just half-wits, majority of them, because all we're fed is bullshit on social media. Kids are given tablets at 3 years old to watch a bunch of bullshit. It's like all these other countries, they regulate a lot of shit that our country doesn't. Not even just social media, but like food regulations,
because we're the land of the
drug
free.
regulations, gun regulations. Like a lot of countries have all of these different laws put in to where their country's not. Where we're struggling, they're not. So, like, how many countries are having fucking school shootings every day? I know we were talking about this. Other countries, you know, they have freaking, like, people coming and slaughtering their villages and stuff like that. I get that. But, like, how many countries have kids who go to school who have to literally be scared for their life every day they go to school, thinking there is potentially now a school shooter that can come in?
There's countries out there. I mean, don't deny it.
I mean, I
There's
feel like
countries
it's
with the
people
same
like
issues.
that.
But instead of
everywhere,
defending
so-
it, Eric, instead of defending that argument, why don't you just like state the obvious? Our country was not like this 20 years ago.
What?
Were we having school shootings every day? 2, 3, 4 school shootings a week? No.
Colleges?
No, but I do feel like we
Virginia
made-
Tech, that was
No,
one
listen.
incident in how long?
I do believe that we made it a big thing. We made it so popular. Everybody, once
I get on
Columbine
TV.
happened, it
I
was
be
like
talking
everybody
about
was talking about school shootings. So it's like when people that are already off a little bit, the first thing they think about is, let me go shoot up a school.
Oh, I mean,
Or
the
shoot up my
Columbine shootings
school.
were a long time ago, right? So now the school shootings have recently increased in the past, 2, 3 years?
Yes.
So it's more than just the Columbine shootings that people were looking at, bro. You have to think about video games, Grand Theft Auto, shit that's being fed into these
Right.
kids' heads all the time when they're growing up. And then on top of that, a lot of these kids who are shooting up schools are kids who are getting picked on and bullied and have bad home lives. Shit like that, bro.
Right. That's the next thing I was going to say. Like, a lot of this stuff derives from mental health.
Exactly.
And mental health is not being taken care of in the schools.
Well,
Like, there's a lot of things that's happening that's not being talked about. They got counselors in school that do not care nothing about these kids.
no, I totally agree with the mental health portion of it because I do think mental health is a huge issue in this country. However, guns are so easy to access in so many states in this country that it's, to me, now becoming super unacceptable to where nearly anybody can get a gun.
You know what that
And get
is?
access to a
That
gun.
makes so much sense. We're pushing, self-care because anxiety is so high in the country, but yet we aren't restricting guns.
This-
It's like, wait a minute.
Because it's infringing our free
ask you this.
our rights. Like, fuck out of here.
Let me ask you this. So what restrictions would you put on that?
First of
Mental
all,
evaluation.
Exactly.
yeah, there's multiple things you could do. Yeah, mental evaluation, 1. 2, they can track bullets a lot better. They can track guns a lot. But there's things that they can put in place so where they can track this shit like it's nothing, and they choose not to do it. Why? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to say because of how much. So, like ammo, for instance, I'm not going to say it's because of how much they produce, because they produce things by the millions all the time, and they can track it all. So why not be able to track a bullet the same exact way? Like, there's so many different ways that they can go into regulating. And then on top of that, hold on.
Do you not think that they have your information?
No, I'm not saying they don't. Of course, if you buy a gun from a pawn shop or a gun store, they're going to have your information. But it's like, it's so easy to get it, bro. When I went into the gun store, they did my background check. I had to fill out some stuff, and then that was it, bro.
So what more do you want? You're talking about an evaluation test. Who's honestly stable in this world?
Bro, but you can easily go to a doctor and do some type of psychological test.
And how many times have you seen doctors being serial killers? Come on now, like nobody.
Whoa! There's some crazy doctors.
Nobody is stable all the way.
No, I kind of get what he's saying. You can't always predict somebody snapping.
Shit, bro.
You can't always predict somebody snapping though. They could have been the most sane person you know until that one moment.
I understand that, but if you have a history of maybe trying to take antidepressants or going to a doctor for antidepressants and shit like that,
I feel like
I don't think you should be able to
restrictions.
So I'm not saying because what they're saying is putting all these high regulations on a gun is infringing the right to bear arms, right?
Yes.
But we're not saying that take it completely away, but make it a lot harder to get a gun. Like, and make it to where people can't fucking go get M16s and shit or ARs at a store anymore. Like,
so where do you think they're gonna get them?
Just don't get them at all, or try to. If you're gonna smuggle them across the country, then smuggle them across the country. But they're not selling them in fucking stores, bro.
It's gonna be the same way.
And then you can go, bro. You can go buy bullets like it's nothing. You can go buy an extended clip like it's nothing. You can go buy.
Going to give it to me
you
at
can
the
deck
store.
your gun out like it's Call of Duty in this bitch.
You're not going to give it to me at the store.
Somebody
I'm gonna
make a hustle out of it.
Yes.
Facts.
Come on now.
Somebody's gonna make a
get with the
hustle
real
out of it.
program. If you don't put it in the stores where I can get some type of information, some type of info on you, then guess what? These streets are gonna sell it. Then you're gonna worry about other people selling that shit. You know what I'm saying? My nephew was outside. He only had he had $200 on him. Somebody sold him a Mac 10. Then what? It's that easy.
I think that you should have a license to carry a gun. No, you can get a concealed license. You should just have an all-around general license to carry a gun. Concealed should just be a whole separate entity. It shouldn't. I think people are just so freely able to get guns in this world, and you don't know who people are, what they're doing. I only even thought about getting a gun simply because of the world we live in. I'm not a person who likes guns at all.
If I'm doing the dirt, I'm not buying it from the store.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it can happen anywhere, bro. You can't stop that shit. Yeah. It's here.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that it's stoppable. It's not. But you can regulate how many guns are getting sold, bro. Because how many people? So let me ask you a question. You think a fucking old white man who's 65 years old is about to go buy a fucking gun off of an arms dealer?
We
bro?
are
Come
in
on,
America.
bro.
They are not finna let the streets profit off of that, knowing that they could.
Exactly.
The thing about
it is, then hold on.
Even if that was the case, though, we are so crafty.
No, exactly. I get that.
No matter what happens or restrictions are put on anything, we always find a loophole or a way around it. So and then there are individuals that may not have mental health issues and may be able to get an actual a gun license and may be able to carry, but then somebody might piss this man or woman off. And then they going crazy on it. And what can we do? Like, we gave him a mental evaluation. He was fine. You know, he had his license. He was fine. Now look. So you can't really avoid but so much when it comes to that. Like, we could try to, just like they've tried. Right.
So unpredictable.
Exactly.
Well, then you take all the guns away.
With what y'all said about the profiting part, like they know that if they can't profit off of it, then why isn't weed legal federally? Because they know, I guarantee you the government knows that they can really make trillions.
Why isn't cocaine legal federally? We all know that they had something to do with that.
It was in the damn soda.
Good point, I guess.
Damn, G.
Good point, I guess. All right, well, that's going to lead me to the next question. With the alliance forming between China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, do you think this could cause a big threat for U.S. soil? Like, do you think this could potentially be a big threat for, like, they could come in and invade us? Like, they all have an alliance. They're three huge, strong-ass countries.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could really pose a threat for America, honestly.
I mean, I definitely think that it can be, because we have to understand that no matter how we look at things, they have so many different ways to get to us. And when we're talking about the type of artillery that they have, as to where we can't see it, that's a whole nother level right there. You get what I'm saying? So they can come at us and we would never know until it happens and it's done and over with and all of these people are dead.
That's what I'm saying.
So
you,
how do you prepare for that unless everybody builds a bunker underground? Is everybody equipped to even do that? Do people know how to do that? Do they have the knowledge of that, or know someone that can help them with that? Because that's the only way you may avoid it, depending upon what it is.
Y'all don't think that the government has any type of plans for that?
Yes, they do. The higher ups.
bro, I feel like
saying for national security, you don't think they? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they probably
be a concentration
do have,
camps
They
messing with
probably do have like a little, go plan.
Like if shit just hit the fan.
yo, yeah. To be
However, a
honest,
lot of people are still gonna die. They're just gonna look at a lot of people and say, "Nah, you can't come." It's gonna be a qualification to get there.
I think honestly, yeah, I think there would be some concentration camp shit type of shit going on
They
to where our
already
own
have
U.S.
them
government, they're going to be
around.
just
Walmarts,
collecting
the
people,
abandoned Walmarts,
bringing them to
remember
these
that?
bases or whatever to try to protect them. And what's going to end up happening is these bases are all just going to get fucking bombed. And all these people are going to end up dying. And it's just going to be a shit show. And
You are very dark.
because what can happen?
I
I
agree.
honestly think that what can
I
happen
agree
is
though.
Yeah.
you have three
like a lot of
huge
gold.
military. You have three very rich countries.
Rich countries?
You want to sit there and tell me Saudi Arabia ain't a rich country?
Saudi Arabia, okay, but you said what?
Russia?
Russia and China? They're
And
rich.
China,
They're rich.
China,
They're rich.
China,
They're rich.
China.
Okay.
A major trade import. China.
Okay. We'll just look.
How much do we get from China? Just us alone.
I
We
thought,
hustled
to
them.
my understanding, we were in debt to them.
That's
We in debt to everybody.
Right.
Everybody's in debt to everybody. Shit, you.
So again, you have three huge, powerful
Russia
countries,
owes
bro.
China money. You know what
you
I'm
have three rich, powerful countries, especially with Saudi Arabia's backing. Bro, America is fucked.
I'm not gonna lie to
In
you. I
that
always
war,
felt
bro.
like all Russia
I don't
needed
think so.
needed
America's
was a
fucked in that war,
powerful
bro.
country to back them.
I know that, you
And
know
they
what I'm
finally
saying?
got it. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I do feel like this is finna be a war. I pray to God I am not here to
How-
see any
so-
of it.
I
And it
ain't
might
going.
sound
It's gonna be the
selfish
next
because
20,
I got
30 years.
kids.
So power wise, you don't think the U.S. got allies still?
We have allies.
because-
Look at how.
Just because people
But-
denounce
but
our
I don't
currency,
feel like
we
they
don't
gonna-
have allies.
I don't feel like they're
Bro.
gonna go all the way. For
Let me
us,
ask
if
you,
get what
bro.
I'm saying.
So we have like Iraq as allies, right? So when we left their country, what happened? When we left all of that shit, what happened? It got
took it
taken
over.
right the fuck over.
They
They
took
didn't
it.
want to learn anything. They didn't want to be a fucking military for real. So that's our allies, bro. That's who we have to rely on to fucking
Yeah,
go to war with,
I'm
bro.
sure we have more than Iraq.
I mean, I know, but that's my point. Is like our allies compared to who they got. You trying to fuck with a Chinese or Russian military, bro?
Russia's
At the
getting
end of the
beat.
day, I'm
Russia
not
is
even-
getting. Russia is getting
See,
beat by
y'all
Ukraine
talking about
right
who
here,
gonna win
right
the
now.
war. At the end of the
They're
day, if
getting
the
beat.
war is
Chinese
here,
and
we
Russian
finna
together,
die.
bro.
Y'all worried about who finna win a war, and we finna die if this is war zone.
Yeah. And do you guys think the government would let us fight for ourselves, or would they try to be like, yeah,
Of
don't
course,
try
they
to?
let us fight for
I don't know,
ourselves.
bro. I think
I
they
feel
be
like
like,
it's then
don't
at
try
that
to
point,
shoot,
those
just
are
call us.
casualties.
Exactly. Every man
Call
for
the
himself
police.
at that point.
1-800 government.
They're gonna be
If
putting
you live, you
fucking
live.
messages on the
Right.
TVs. Everybody, go get a gun at your local store right now and just start shooting for your life.
Listen, we gonna hear the sirens going off. What was that movie? Y'all know what
The
I'm talking
Purge.
about? Yeah.
I don't think it'd be like. It would be a
Why
panic.
not?
It would be a panic, but I don't think people.
All right. So this leads me to a question. So say we did have war on American soil. Do you think that would bring people together, or do you think that would just make it an open fucking
Well,
field?
fact-
It'll create more chaos, in
Yep.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
It ain't gonna do nothing but create more
I
chaos.
ain't
You
gonna
don't think
hold you.
people? You
Yeah.
don't think
See,
people would stick
listen,
together?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Nah,
I
bro.
feel like
Them?
if
I don't think
if our
so. Y'all
have
government
no
didn't
faith at
hide
all?
as much
Nah.
shit as they did, we might come together a little
some
bit.
scary motherfuckers.
But
get some-
we
you
were
get some
blind to
fucking
so much for
Blood
so
rival
long.
gangs together and shit, bro.
People
They
are
all
being
gonna
blindsided.
just have a war zone. It's gonna be like a fucking fucking.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's
Nobody's
gonna be
ready
gangland
for
for
it,
real,
so-
bro.
No faith in your.
I mean,
That's
I
just
feel
gonna be
like
a
there's
game of
going to be a
Call of Duty
number
Warzone,
of
bro.
people
No
that
faith.
do
Do
come
come-
together,
exactly.
but I don't know or can't say if it's going to be enough to fight what they got going on if it comes
Y'all
over
don't
to
have
this
faith,
way.
Like no faith at all.
I mean, I got faith,
no
but you
faith.
really got to look at the facts, though, bro. Like, look at the facts of the world. Look at how we treat each other now.
I mean, but
I'm
we
just
also
saying,
have to
us
look.
versus
We also
common
have to
enemy.
look at this though. We don't see what goes in, like what goes on in depth in other countries.
That
So
part too, and they can see what we got
other
going on,
countries,
right?
well, not necessarily, because again, like other countries, some countries have hard restrictions on what their people can see. So some countries may be able to see what we got going on, but like not all. So people could be completely oblivious, just like we could be oblivious. Like I didn't know until last week that Paris was in a shit show right now. Had no idea there was riots going on. I had no idea, and then I started learning all this information, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of trash going on.
Yeah, so there's a lot. So
Sanitation issues.
other places in the world may not be as connected together, or as we think. Like their people might hate their governments just as much as we hate ours, and our government just doesn't want us
Wait
to know
a minute.
that.
Isn't like that's Paris, France? Isn't France one of our allies?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, this is going back to my point earlier. Do you
Yeah.
see what we're working with here?
Y'all have no faith.
You see what we're working with?
No faith at all.
In our country, all right, so here's my thing, bro. We were the most powerful country in the world for a long time, right? Pretty much since World War II, right? And I take pride in our country as a whole because I feel like there's a lot of good people in this world, in this country specifically. You know what I mean? But like now, I think that we're all so fucked up, and social media's got everybody so fucked up that we don't know what the hell's going on anymore. We lost power simply because we have greedy people at the top who care about nobody but who else is at the top. And that's it. They don't care about the people under them. But here's another thing, is that there's so many people being born on a day-to-day basis. It's hard. I could imagine being at the top having to worry about all these people. And then you got people who are having 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids. And
What do the kids got to do with anything?
because there's a lot of people being born into the world.
Bruh.
And you have a lot of people.
But that's what
you
the
sound
smaller
like, you
governments
sound
are
like
for.
China right now. You just want the motherfuckers to have 2
No,
kids.
I'm not saying that at all. But I'm
And
saying,
if you
no,
have
I'm
another,
saying,
I
I'm
swear
saying,
we
I'm
throwing
saying,
them
I'm
off.
saying,
Like, the fuck, what's
I'm
wrong
saying
with you right now?
through time, you have populations that are rising more and more and more, where there's people who are getting on each side of these political debates by bigger numbers every year because the populations are growing and people are having a lot of children these days.
You know what
does
pisses
that-
me off about this though? It's like we thinking about population, but this world definitely has more than enough space for all of us to be up here.
Oh, I
It's
agree.
just that everybody's just so power hungry that they gotta have, oh, this is my land, even though it might only be 6 of y'all there, and it's like 5,000 of us here. Come on, let us know. This is, God dang.
But that makes me wonder: is the world full of greed, or is America full of greed?
It's everywhere.
Everybody's greedy.
It's everywhere.
Everybody wants everything. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants it all. Like,
Well, I don't know, because like when you go to a situation like how the Ukraine president was fighting with his country type of deal, that doesn't seem greedy to me. I mean, he could have been just hiding the whole time. Like, I guarantee you, if we go to war, Joe Biden's not even going to be in the fucking country.
Of course not.
He's going to be somewhere in bumblefuck middle of nowhere enjoying
I don't know, he
tequilas
might
and
have
shit
a
on the
heart
beach. You said what?
He
Lord.
might have a heart attack.
If what?
damn. Y'all trying to kill him off.
No, I mean, it's just
US
Oh, you talking about
old.
Biden?
Our allies
I don't
ain't
know
shit.
how much his poor
Y'all
little
just
heart can take.
negative.
As soon as he hears
Jesus.
missiles, oh no, he passed out right there.
All right, well, that leads me to the next
Lucky
question.
him.
With where America's been at lately, do you think that our country is at risk of a future civil war?
Absolutely.
With the way y'all talking, hell yeah, I guess so. That's shit.
I mean, why wouldn't it be though? Like I said, we have to really look at the facts and the logic. Like, we do not even make our own choices anymore. We go by what we see now. Now, I know that there were a lot of people that did that prior to, but before it was televised and on the scale that it is now, certain things were harder to do, but we worked together faster and easier. So now that we have all of these influences on so many different platforms, and we believe whatever is put in front of our faces, what do you think is going to happen with that? Like, we don't, I don't know. I just know that we have to change the dynamic of our way of thinking in order for us to even gain some type of control.
I think what it could boil down to is just the people versus the government, which means the people versus the military, which is going to be a loss on the people. Let's be honest. It's just going to be a slaughter field. To be honest, like
I doubt that.
you
I
doubt
don't know.
what?
It's a lot of people that work for the military that really don't like their country. They just like their money.
You might have some diehards.
I
here and
mean,
there, but
you're right. You might be right because I know that there's a lot of people in the military simply for the money who really just are just like, you know.
Yeah, but how much money do they really make?
That's what I'm
don't
saying,
really be
and I
making
guarantee
money.
you.
It's just the assurance.
But you also have to think though, like if you're in the military, bro, and say we have a civil war and they give you an order to do something. I mean, if you don't do it, it's still probably going to be the same and or worse repercussions for you.
I feel like it. Shit,
especially if it's a civil war and you're like, nah, I'm not about to go fight my own people. They're going to be like, oh, word? All right, well, you can go fight with them on your own. Give us all your equipment and everything, and we'll just kill you. Bye.
Well, isn't that what they're doing with the Chinese military right now? Like, they're not really giving them a choice anymore over there. They're preparing them, and they basically said that unless you're, like, have an ailment or have children, you have to.
Isn't that like, yeah, like at
Right, but
Korea,
that's
that's
what I'm
always
saying.
been.
They don't have
Yeah.
a choice. It's either you're gonna do it or else.
Right.
Who wants to live like that?
Once you turn 18, you have to
That's
serve
the
in
beauty of here.
military.
Who wants to
Yeah.
live like that? Imagine if they was like, Monty, you better not say nothing about the president. You better not say nothing about this country. You know what I'm saying? Imagine you living in something like that.
Well, I
Did
mean,
what?
because we live in quote unquote a free country, and I think
You can say it. You can go on here right now and say, fuck Joe Biden. And
Yep,
nothing
and
will
guess what
happen
they're
to you.
going to do?
and
You're going to get a
you're right.
restriction, and then you're going to be on Facebook, in Facebook jail.
Facebook jail. In Facebook
Like,
jail.
so you can't, like, there's still restrictions
We just
there.
go to
It's just
MySpace.
different.
Fuck
Right,
y'all.
and I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the word freedom's been on the show the last few weeks, but I think people are misinterpreting what the word free means. Like, it's just because Eric was putting up some wild examples a couple weeks ago, it
Just
just made no
hater.
fucking sense. But it's just no, it's freedom to be able to live your life, bro. Not do like. If you have the freedom to go make a good or a bad choice. If you make a bad choice, just know that freedom comes with repercussions. You were free enough to go make the choice, but it comes with repercussions.
Sometimes your good choices come with repercussions too. Just saying.
Yeah,
that's a very good-
facts.
But that's
pretty
life, so
Right. I don't know. My perspective is just a little bit different. Like, I feel like we're free to an extent. I feel like freedom is to an extent. Like, there's definitely certain things that come into play with that. Like, because the truth of the matter is, and I guess that goes a little bit deeper into it, but it's like freedom to me, in my mind, I really want to do whatever I want to do. And I feel like you can, but you can't because of the things that you have to do in order to obtain what you're trying to obtain. Like, for instance, in a lot of countries, not all, but a lot of countries, like, something as simple as college is free. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they were trying to get there here in a sense by offering free community college in certain places. But, like, let me give you an example. My sister has a son who's in college right now, and his grades are amazing. His tuition is catastrophic, and she is struggling to make sure he gets through college. Now, what if he decides that he doesn't even want to do anything with what he's going to school for? You know what I'm saying? And she's wasted all of this money. And, like, freedom to me is more so a way of thinking and a way of life. But we don't really have a lot of that because we have a lot of restrictions. Even though it's the land of the free, there's a lot of restrictions to what we really want to do. We have to choose based on, again, the status quo. Like, a lot of these basketball players and football players, I've seen interviews where that's not even something that they wanted to do, but they felt like they can take care of their family. You know what I'm saying? So they made that choice because of that versus choosing something, a business or a career or something like that, where they can kind of strive from there. But it's harder. Like, I'm a business owner. It is hard as hell to be a business owner. Like, everything is out of pocket. You know what I mean? Nothing is given to you. And a lot of people get that misconstrued. You start your own business, that is amazing. But understand that you ain't even going to see no type of revenue until the first couple of years go by. You got to lose so much before you start gaining when it comes to that.
Yeah, and just because you're making money doesn't mean you're making money.
I'm trying to tell you.
Like, making profits is different than just making money. Because, like, especially when you first start a business, when you have to, like, get equipment or get products or get whatever the case is, and you have to keep building your products up. It's just like a weed man selling drugs, right? You start with an ounce, and then you flip that ounce, and then you go to 2 ounces, then you go to a pound, then you go to whatever. It's like you have to start somewhere though, but like they're not really making money until they're getting them pounds, and then they flipping those pounds, and they're not really doing too much, but they worked up to that. You know what I mean? It's the same with a business. Like, you have to start with what you can get. You know what I mean? So if you're, like, for me, engineer, right? So I had to start with the equipment I could afford, and then I had to build up. In the first few years, I wasn't making shit. I'm still always having to pay for new stuff, so it's still technically not profit.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to the business world and trying to gain, it's like, the truth of the matter is the banks are transferring money from other people's accounts even to cover what you think that is in your account.
That they played you.
So, you know, they make you go through all of these loopholes when it comes to like loans and lines of credit for your business and all of that stuff. You can't walk into a bank and get money just because you have a business. Some people think that you can, but you have to have some type of establishment, and then you have to have, you know, revenue, and you have to be able to show cash flow. And you might not have that. So then you got to think about the struggle to even get to that point. You got to think about the research and the knowledge that you have to have, because essentially it's going to take you at the least 18 months to get that type of funding. And then you got to be consistent when it comes to like your credit and all of that to even get there. Otherwise they're not going to offer you anything. So, but all of that taps into the government. All of that taps into the banks. All of that taps into the original statement of, you know, freedom that we were talking about. Like, that shit to me, excuse my language, is not even there. Like, it's so much of a struggle, and I feel like the struggle is for a reason, right? Because it's always a lesson in everything that you go through. It makes you resilient, you know, it makes you stronger, it gives you the knowledge so that you won't go back into the same thing or make the same mistakes. But me personally, I be at the point where I'm like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really tired of going through this. You know, it gets tiring. Like, I'm not going to give up. But that's just my character. But some people,
much is given, much is required.
A whole lot.
So it's like you got to put in that work.
Have to.
Yeah, and I mean, for small businesses, I feel like that's where a lot of small businesses are messing up. Like, they're not having a system of where they can track all of their transactions and shit like that. Like, when it comes to wanting to build business credit and getting bank loans and shit like that for your business, like, yeah, she was saying, you have to kind of have proof of your cash flow, and, you know, you have to have some type of system in order so that you can keep track of all of that. You know what I mean? So that when you go into the banks, you're showing them, this is what I got going on. Like, businesses that you see that are succeeding, they're taking these necessary steps to get what they need to get, you know, money wise, credit wise, shit like that. And it's like, it's a building your credit too. That's an underrated thing. It's not, it shouldn't be, but I feel like it is having, if you have a high credit score, you can do a lot. Like, you can get a lot of money if you have a high credit score.
But that's where they messed up at, because they took it out to schools. So we're not teaching the kids how to even read a checkbook. We're not teaching the kids how to do stocks and bonds. We're not teaching the kids how. First of all, they took, you know, signatures out. They don't even teach them that anymore. There's a lot of things that they're actually, yes, there's a lot of things that they actually are going to need in the world once they get grown and past college, if they choose to go to college, that we're not even supplying them with in these school systems anymore. Like, my children, I have 4 kids and 7. I have twin girls that are 11, and I have a son that is 12. 3 of my kids have their own businesses. You know what I'm saying? They know what a checkbook looks like. They know how to do their signature. They also know how to, you know, when it comes to a bank account, they know what cash flow is. But that's because I taught them that. Because if I would have left it up to the school system, they wouldn't know nothing about that. But these kids can easily pull out one of these phones and tablets and do it better than a IT tech major.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So we're teaching them the wrong things at the same time.
I also feel like I want to hold millennials and beyond responsible for teaching the younger generation these things, because when I was in school, we learned signatures, we learned how to, you know, we learned checkbooks, we learned how to write a check, we learned how to do all that. But now, just like you guys said, they don't teach that in schools anymore. So now I feel like now we're more responsible as now the parents of the newer generation to teach the kids these specific things Yeah, especially because the schools aren't. Because I learned how to do all that in school.
Right. But unless it's
crazy.
a private school, it's not happening. So we have to step up and do it, because other than that, they're not going to know. They're not going to learn it. Like, these things are not being offered anymore. And it's because of from what they said, it's because of funding. So now they're not providing the funding needed, although that they have it, to create these types of programs in these schools anymore. So now, because they don't have the funding, and I keep putting up quotation marks because I know for a fact that they
got
do.
the funding.
You get what I'm saying? But because they don't have the funding, it's not available to them, and nor is it a priority. Like, let me tell you something. I sat down with my 12-year-old the other day, and he needed some help with some math, and I was really good at math, like A's and B's. But this stuff they got going on here, it's made up. Like, there's no way. It's definitely made up. Like, these are things that I've never seen in my life, and I'm just like, hold on.
No, kids are learning like calculus and stuff at an earlier age.
But
now.
even calculus, you get what I'm saying? Like, this stuff doesn't make sense at all. Logically, on paper, none of that stuff.
What is it? Statistics?
Yeah, like,
that class is funny.
my daughter got.
I love that class.
My daughter, she had an assignment that she had to do, and it was in math as well or whatever. And I helped her with her assignment. Now, I know for a fact that these answers were correct. Her teacher sent her back and said that they were incorrect, and so she failed on that. And I had to go up to the school, and I broke it down to the teacher, and the teacher had to correct her paperwork, because these teachers don't even know this information.
Oh yeah, I remember I got put out of one of my algebra 2 class. My teacher got mad at me because she told me to answer the question, and I was like, well, it's wrong, and I was trying to get her to fix it, but I'll give her the fact that she was pregnant. She had hormones.
Damn.
But they don't know. They don't have that knowledge. They have a curriculum, and they gotta go by it.
Yes, and I think it's now up to the schools and the communities to change this. Like, I think of course on a federal level, like, all school systems need to just have a whole new curriculum built, meaning like teach them how to live in 2023. Like, teach them how to live for the future, not live for.
See, but I feel like a federal level is a little too big. I feel like it do need to start at the local.
That's what I mean.
First.
It needs to start at a local. So, like, there needs to be a school that comes out on the news that is like, this school has decided that they want to have their whole own new curriculum system of how they teach their kids. They're going to have classes like economics. They're going to have classes that teach you, actual things that you need to learn, how to build finances, like a finance class, just specific categories of, trade classes. Like, they'll have, like a HVAC class. They'll have like a wood tech class. They'll have a computer science class, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? They just have different courses for different specific trades, and let the kids go through each one of these different things to figure out what they
I was
like.
gonna say, wasn't that home ec? It was home ec. It was like they had those when I was out. Like, okay,
they had them, but it was like in home ec. What did you really learn?
What you
Cooking,
mean? We learned how to
sewing.
cook.
You learned how to
taking care of babies.
bake fucking muffins.
That is
No,
not.
That's what we
all.
learned. We learned how to cook.
We learned
bullshit.
more than that.
See, in my home ec classes, we learned bullshit. They taught us how to cook, how to bake shit. For
Our
real.
home ec teacher had us
shit.
making breakfast. Like, I remember one time in 8th grade, we all made like this giant breakfast for like, I think it was like field day or something towards the end of the year.
See, every time we cooked something, it was always something that was so simple that it was just like an idiot can make it. Like, the only time we ever had to cook anything that was like difficult was when I was doing that culinary competition and we were practicing like making real dishes and shit. That was the only time we ever cooked real shit. But I was doing the whole side competition that wasn't in the class. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was, you know what I mean? That was some shit I signed up for type shit. But
I guess it depends on the teacher. Like, does the teacher actually care about what they're teaching?
yeah,
Do they really want you to grasp on to what they're giving?
I just like the core classes like history. If you don't need to learn it, I like to learn history personally. I'm gonna take
History
that
is
out.
very important.
Math, like 90% of the math that they learn in schools is just bullshit. Fucking like A minus B over XY squared is like, what, bro? Like, that shit never made sense
A lot
to me.
of those formulas and stuff, people.
Astrophysics, that's what they need.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So then you have an astrophysics class in a school, like an entry level one in each grade. It just gets a little harder and harder and more deep in depth into it.
That would be private. The private schools. You gotta
the
pay
funding
for
that gotta go into
My
that.
man
I was
up
gonna
here,
say.
he had a private school. His thing teach you how to be a pilot.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
how to-
pay
and
for
how to-
that.
and how
now.
to-
You
build
guys are
cranes.
using a key word right now.
You gotta pay for
And then you
it.
build.
Let's all guess what the key word that all of you are using right now.
Money.
Private schools.
You gotta
why
pay.
can't these be public schools
'Cause it
just
costs
teaching
money.
kids
You gotta pay
how to
to
live
teach
life?
Because they say they don't have the
Yeah,
funding.
but they have to teach.
That was the
They have to
problem.
pay
That part.
teachers to teach the bullshit that they're
So
teaching them
listen,
anyway.
The government runs the school system. So if you want to do something different,
Go to these
you
meetings.
build your own schools. You build your own, like you
Big
say.
facts, 'cause that's the
why
only-
we
Yeah, but you
respect
can't.
life coming.
But are you
We
going to
build
be
our
able? Let me
own
ask you this
academy.
though: are you going to be able to have a school system in a state if you're not following their curriculum?
Listen, man.
You only have to
Yeah.
follow their curriculum to an extent, to
We
be
are
honest
going
with you.
to build
That's
our
just like
programs.
homeschooling.
Just like
You
you
don't.
They
You
have,
can
like, the
teach
state
them whatever
SOL and
you
shit.
want
You
to.
just gotta teach them the
You
basics.
just have to teach them the basics of what they got going on. So you really can do that without teaching them most of the stuff that they're teaching them. You just have to, as long as you're
YouTube
doing the
teach them
basics,
everything.
you could do everything
University,
else
we
that you
talked
want to do.
about it.
Yeah, YouTube University's been my best friend
All right,
since.
next question.
Yeah, we got one more that we're going to tap into. Let me see. Oh, so I want to talk about. No, fuck that. I don't want to talk about that.
He didn't want to go too deep. He be running from questions sometimes.
Well, no, it was the Fed Now stuff. You want to talk about it, Eric?
Oh, how they killed the Cash App CEO.
No,
made
so they
their own
have.
shit.
So they have. They're pushing for like a new app that the Federal Reserve has created called Fed Now. That's going to be just a bit like a bank transfer,
It's
an
like
instant
Cash
bank
App.
transfer app. Well, kind of.
They killed the man and came out with the app.
It's kind of like Cash App.
24 hours
Directly
later.
after.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
they
like
weren't
Cash App.
subtle
It's
about
just
that
instant
one
bank
at
to
all.
They
bank.
already gonna know anyway. Might as
Right.
well just do this shit.
But I mean, the government's just really trying to have all control over how everything is spent in every way, shape, or form. They want to eliminate the physical dollar. And I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Imagine living in a world where we don't have physical cash.
I
okay
mean,
with
the value is already
My ancestors
almost
my motherfuckers.
I
depreciated.
feel like majority of us don't use cash anymore anyway.
Right.
A lot of us already using our cards and stuff. Swipe it real fast,
Tap
tap
your
it,
phone.
right?
Well, I feel like the
Insert
people
chip.
who it'll affect the most are the people who are such as drug dealers.
I don't
They
even know
get-
about that because
get
they
their
don't.
money
They don't want cash no
digitally,
more.
too.
They I mean, but
Apple Pay,
imagine.
Cash App.
All right, so imagine this, right?
They take Cash Apps.
Imagine the government shuts down all of these other platforms that you can transfer money digitally, right? They make it to where that people can't use Cash App anymore, PayPal or whatever. They can't use all these instant money transfer apps, but theirs, right? So imagine, I could imagine that happening.
Yep.
You know what? It's gonna get a lot of people with taxes. Like they can't avoid it.
That's
at
the
all.
big part. So listen, it's really gonna affect the individuals that are like low class, middle class, right?
Yeah.
So and that's because of the fact that a lot of people just go through what they go through, and so some people get in positions where they have to decide what's more of a priority or not when it comes to their household, living bills and things like that. So what's gonna happen is anything that comes in within any kind of income, and it's really not going to be a limit to that, they're going to tax that, and they're automatically either going to take it from you because they have that access to do, or they're going to bill you for it.
But they do that regardless if you.
They do that regardless,
now,
but
now this year right here is when they start to tax you or
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
Right.
So here's
Like Cash App, you get taxed. It's not theirs, but you still get taxed.
Yeah,
so
facts.
you get taxed by Cash App, plus you get taxed from your business, from your
Right.
state.
So I think one thing that people need to really be aware of is like the significance of us losing the overall world currency power, like being the number one currency in the world. How big this can affect this country. So, for instance, majority of our major oil suppliers are not going to be using the American dollar to trade oil anymore. So this means for us to buy oil, we'll have to transfer our money from the US dollar to whatever their currency is, which it could be like one of their
This is not
dollars could be
factual.
like
This is
1,000
big.
of our dollars. This is not a fact or nothing, but I'm saying this is what could happen is like 1,000 of our dollars could only be worth one of theirs. So that means the price to buy oil is going to be a lot for America.
But don't worry, y'all, because Biden's got a plan. He's gonna give y'all tax credits so that y'all can buy electric vehicles.
Right. So now this is where we're at.
I want an electric.
America now, I think
But that's
now the
still
government
not
sees
gonna work
where
out
a
the way
big
that he
threat
wanted
could
to.
happen
Right.
to where gas prices would shoot up to God knows how much per gallon. God knows how much. And Americans are not going to be using gas cars anyway because people just can't afford gas. Or this is going to cause huge problems for... Like, I could see riots happening. This is what I was saying with the Civil War part, is that Americans are going to get outraged at what is going on, like, as far as the upraise in pricing on everything food.
We're going to have
Products.
to start growing our own food.
Thank you.
Yep.
Growing our own food. I'm not talking about just going to the grocery store and getting what they got, because I got pesticides on it too. So we're going to have to learn how to grow our own everything.
Yep.
If you do not know how to fish, you need to learn. You can't really trust that the ocean water anyway, but if you choose to, you're going to have to learn how to fish. You're going to have to learn how to hunt if you feel like you need meat in your life. You're definitely going to have to learn how to barter. And that's basically just trading this for that. Like, and you're really going to have to trust whatever they say. Whatever the value is of that item to you is what they're going to have to trade it for. But that's the type of thing that I feel like we're going to have to do to survive if that were to happen and be the outcome. Because if we try to depend upon this system, it's just going to flop. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that's gonna be drawn to it because they're gonna do what they're told, because that's what we do. We do what we're told. Okay, we're gonna use this. We're gonna use FedNow because you said to use it.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that's gonna do that because we live in that type of world. But for the individuals that may not be in agreement with that, you better start learning how to
learn crypto.
Live right.
So
off of the.
I personally feel like the cash dollar is going to be gone in the next 20 years. That's just my prediction, honestly. I think the actual physical cash dollar is going to be gone, and everywhere in the world is going to change
by the end of this year, to be honest.
Yeah, with how things are going, to be honest, in the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I do see the cash dollar being completely disintegrated as a whole, and they're going to be worthless. Not being able to be used in stores anymore. They're just going to be worthless to have. And that's why I think it's important for people to start learning crypto, learn cryptocurrencies if you haven't already, because that's going to be the only other way that you can start maneuvering around without maybe being tracked by the government. Which,
but let me just, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this is from experience, right? So I used to work for Capital One.
Okay.
And Wells Fargo too. And one thing that I know when it comes to even the cryptocurrency is the banks really don't even want that to be utilized.
I know.
Whether it's being pushed out
That's
here
the
or
point.
not.
That's the point.
Right. So we have to find a way to do the cryptocurrency in a way to where it's not going to affect us, because they're going to shut it down. Like, I've talked to numerous of people where their accounts is flagged for fraud just for utilizing the cryptocurrency, and their money is being held because of that.
I think that this is where you have to just learn how to start transferring your money into this whole portion. It's going to be to the point where I feel like it's either you're going to have to have your two separate currencies, right? You're going to have what you can spend, just like you do now. You're going to have your crypto, and then you're going to have just your, which our digital assets are pretty much cryptocurrency. If you think about it, it's going to be a coin. It's going to be a digital asset. That's all crypto is for it. So but just like you were saying, the banks, they don't really like the whole use of crypto, but that's because they can't regulate the money flow. They can't regulate what's going where, just like how all these NFTs and companies were, they're using, Volt to buy whatever, Luna to buy whatever, SHIB to buy whatever, or Ethereum to buy whatever. And this is becoming a lot of people making what becomes digital assets, but that's also going to make me think, are you going to be able to transfer your money to cryptocurrency at a certain point?
At a certain point, I don't see that happening.
You know what I mean? Like, because right now you have to use actual currency, some type of currency, world currency, to be able to buy it. But then once these worlds are like, all right, well, now we're running, our currencies, our world currencies the same way a crypto would, as far as you could just instantly, send money, receive money, whatever the fuck, but they can actually regulate it. They might make it to the point where you can't even transfer money over to crypto anymore. So start building your crypto wallets and build your digital wallet separately, I guess. I don't know what to tell y'all.
Get some gold, get some precious metals, get some silver.
Yeah, but my thing is that type of shit might become worthless because it's a physical asset.
But it's the same thing as you were saying with the crypto. You got to get it while it is worth has worth.
True shit.
Right now, gold and silver, way more worth than the dollar.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you just got to be meticulous and smart about your movements.
True shit.
So if you can do it, get it now. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, if it loses value after the fact, at that point you good already. You already got what you need. You can transfer that gold and silver or whatever have you into something else as well.
That's very true. I think the world is heading to an apocalypse. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. I think that greed is just gonna take over the world. Why everybody has nukes? It feels like it's necessary to have nukes is beyond me. And I think that's what's gonna end up ending this world. It's just a whole bunch of nukes that are just gonna start getting set off, and everybody's gonna die.
Affirmations, Monty. Affirmations.
I'm just saying.
Speaking of the apocalypse, though, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. But you know, they're about to start vaccinating these animals more. They were already doing it. The problem that I have with that is what they're injecting the animals with and then taking them to the slaughterhouse and feeding it to us. For the individuals that eat meat. I eat meat, you know. So
yeah.
It's a worry because people are, you know, the after effect of that could be crucial.
Eric, you keep saying go vegan, but aren't a lot of these vegan dishes getting created in labs and shit, bro?
Yes. It's
so
like
you keep saying go vegan when that's not going to be a very solid fucking way to go, bro. I can promise you.
Go to Walmart and
nah, that goes back to growing your own stuff.
Yeah, because bro, you got to think about it. Even
going in your backyard and you just take.
I heard that you can really make like some portobello mushroom taste like meat.
Yes, I've done it.
Like I want to try it so bad.
I've done it.
Turned into ground.
You got to know how to cook though. But yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, this world is a very messy place. But we have come to the end of the show, and boy, it was another really good one.
It was.
I enjoyed it.
Y'all are dark.
Why?
Y'all are very dark.
How?
Why?
Just death and bombs.
Look in the world that we live in, bro.
I know,
mean,
but
People
damn.
die every day,
That's
son.
not dark. That's
You know what I'm
reality.
That is reality.
Unfortunately.
Reality
Light
is
comes
dark.
death, friend.
Bro, look. Let me ask you a question, bro.
Thank you for joy.
Have you looked
Forget
at
all the pain.
the difference in
is
like
that? Come
TV
on.
shows, movies? Everything is just darker now, bro.
Yeah, but
Look
you
at the
gotta have
Fresh
some
Prince
type
of Bel Air.
light.
That shit was a funny sitcom turned into a drama TV show where
Yeah.
Carlton's
That's what
doing
this
drugs.
generation
Damn.
loves.
Carlton never did drugs, bro.
I don't know about that.
He did.
Yeah,
There was
he
an
did.
episode.
That was
went to
an
the
accident, bro. Oh yeah, it wasn't an accident. I know it's that. Yeah, that was. There was one
It
time,
was
bro.
Will's fault, wasn't it?
That was one
Will's
time, bro.
fault.
But he was on what, like Adderalls or some shit, speed, some
Yeah.
shit like that. Come on, bro. But it was like, you know what I mean? Anyway,
Still works.
but yeah, Capri, tell everybody where to find you.
Well, no, but y'all can find me at Capri Chambers on Facebook. Let me see, official_ Miss_ Capri on IG, Capri Chambers on YouTube, all platforms, Miss Capri. As far as my music goes, I have some new stuff coming out. Shout out to Tiana Grant. We got a banger coming out, and I'm not going to talk about it because I got to get her, her blessing first, because that is her song. But I love it, and I can't wait to release it. Shout out to Big No. I got his shirt on right now. Richmond Brave. I definitely always support the cause, so I hope he sees this.
Respect.
Shout out to everybody out in Richmond. Make sure y'all share this. And yeah,
The 804.
Yeah, big facts. Well, Capri, I appreciate you coming on to the show.
thank you
Most
for
definitely.
having
It's
me.
been a really
I had
good one. I
fun,
hope we can get
y'all.
another episode in with you.
Absolutely.
You know
Let
what I
me
mean? But yeah, man, until next week, guys, I have been enjoying it, so let's keep it up. Next week, I'm pretty sure we have Brizzy J coming on. I have to just confirm with her, but that's who is supposed to be coming on. But yeah, Capri, again, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having
Cast,
me.
I love you guys as always, man. Thank you guys for showing up
Man, fuck
every
you,
week,
Monty.
week in and week out. You know what I mean? Eric, I hate you, but love you at the same time. You know what I mean?
Haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking until next week.